Please welcome the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul. And please join me in welcoming the Mayor of Clayton, Norma Zimmer, and the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation, Basil Sagos, and the New York State Secretary of State, Robert Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, what a heavy lift to have to come here. I was in Manhattan this morning, dropped by Syracuse to make a major job announcements where I happened to be educated for 4 years. And I will always find an excuse to come to Clayton. You know that, Scott, and everybody knows. And I am so delighted to be here with our dream team, Commissioner Basil Sagos, who has a home up here. So this is personal to him as well. And we just had the pleasure of walking along a boardwalk that was, Mayor, it was kind of a mess up until 6 weeks ago, right? Got it done in time for the boat show. So we're making progress every step of the way. But I want to thank him for his passion about what we're doing here. It's so evident that when you have someone who truly cares about a community, as he does, as we all do, what a difference it makes. Also, I'm joined by the New York State Secretary of State. It sounds like he's going to go negotiate peace somewhere, and good luck with that. But Robert Rodriguez served in our legislature as a very distinguished senator, but I was able to pull him away and get him to take on the responsibility of overseeing the Resiliency project, the READY projects, and about 500 other things that he's responsible for as Secretary of State. So welcome to the North Country. He said it's his first visit, but I guarantee this will not be your last. Also, I know our state legislature, I always talk to Patty Ritchie. I don't think she can make it here today, but I've been up here many times with Patty. We served as county clerks together, and that creates a special bond when you work together in a nonpartisan, good government way. So I have fond recollection of working with Patty. And Mark Walczyk, I don't know if he was able to make it. No, he was invited. He's got other responsibilities, I'm sure. But also, William Johnson, our chair of the legislature. Let's give him a round of applause as well for his work here. Bill, good to see you again. Good to see you. I did have a chance to work closely with Scott Gray. We were up here 2 years ago, and we held a really informative roundtable with the local businesses during the heat of the pandemic. It was almost exactly 2 years ago. And we brought everybody together and talked about how we can continue to promote tourism and get New Yorkers to vacation in New York. And I do believe as a result of putting a spotlight on just the magnificent natural beauty, but the charm of the shops and the downtowns and the waterways, and we were able to attract more people. So I know that because I always have trouble finding a hotel room here. So I think things are going well. But Scott, great to work with you. Bobby Cantwell's here, I believe. Bobby, let's say hi to Bobby. We walked around marinas that were underwater. You remember that? Yeah, okay. I think my feet are just starting to dry out from that experience a couple of years ago. Pat Jareo, is that how you pronounce it? Pat, did I get that right? Are you here? If you're not here, I'm going to mess up your name. How do you say it? Jero, okay. Hochul gets mutilated all the time, so I'm a little sensitive about when that happens. So nice to see you. And of course, Lance Peterson, the town of Clayton supervisor, has joined us. Lance, I come out of local government, 14 years as a town board member, so I know what you go through. I've lived in your shoes, and you can't even go to the grocery store because someone says, oh, your snowplow hit my mailbox. I was like, well, let me come over and fix it. You know, that's what we do, right? So I know how hard you work as a supervisor. And also, one of my absolute favorites, someone I've walked the streets with in good times and bad, and that is your outstanding mayor. Norma Zimmer, I want to thank you for your dedication to public service and really just making sure that we all know the concerns of your community when things really get bad here. And we've seen some tough times for this community, but you've always been a steady voice, and I've enjoyed our tours around to see this community through your eyes, which has really been powerful. So thanks to everyone. You know, I think just a few years back I was here to celebrate the opening of the gazebo at Frick Park, and just everybody just was so happy. It was just, you know, we're trying to just break through this pandemic and see a better time. And I was here for the opening of 2 years ago for the opening of the Antique Boat Museum. The changes that were made, great. I love this. You can't imagine how many times I've talked about this facility. It is a gem. It is so unique, and the story that you can learn about the people and the experiences over literally, you know, centuries up here is told through that museum. And so I do talk about it a lot. And we did, like I said, we held our museum, our roundtable up here as well. And I think you've all heard my Thousand Island camping stories. Yes, my parents had very little money, but they would scrounge together, throw their 6 kids in the back of a Woody. Remember the Woody? You're all too young. You're all too young, right? The station wagons that had wood on the side. I'm not sure what the wood did, but we thought it was a really cool look, right? So we'd come piling up here once a year and go camping at Wellesley Island, and I had a chance to go back and see that site where we learned how to be a risk taker, how to be a little gutsy, and because I saw the cliffs that we literally jumped off of, and I'm thinking I would never let my kids do that. So I really love the outdoors, but also this place is so beautiful. Part of my story. This place is part of my story, and I so appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that I grew up other body of water, Lake Erie, and I've also seen how storms have battered communities. And the key is to build up resiliency the best way you can, because you know it's coming. Things have changed a lot over the last couple of decades in terms of the severity of the storms that we're experiencing, and what they call 100-year flooding in 2017, and then all of a sudden in 2019, it's another 100-year event. Somehow we lost 98 years in there, but we should have been left alone, right? So that's what we're going through. I saw that on Lake Erie, I saw it on Lake Ontario, and I absolutely saw it as I came up here and did go to the marinas and walked in Bella's. Oh my God, we all had boots on. Poor Missy was walking through the basement there, and she was still keeping it going. She's not here, is she? That's why I'm working hard. She works so hard. Keeping it going. I mean, literally, I think it was across the street. She was having storage trailers and trying to do the food in there and keeping it going. It's like all because of Mother Nature wreaking havoc on this community. So we've been through a lot here, and I also do believe that more can always be done to bolster economic development in a community. What does that mean? Investing in our downtowns, our marinas, of course, because that's a major industry, the fishing industry, but also just the shops and bringing people up here and letting them see how spectacular this is. So I've seen, damage. I was over at Spicer Marine. I think that's where we were walking around. I saw the restaurants, but I know that we have a lot to do, and now we're here to talk about progress being made, real progress being made. And that's what we're talking about in terms of what we want to do. I was there to announce many of the READY Commission, the Resiliency and Economic Development Commission announcements. I always volunteered to come up here and do the ones here. And it was over $300 million on the table to help us fight back, build up resiliency, and to help the businesses and the homeowners be able to be more protected during the next big storm. So we've identified a lot of at-risk infrastructure projects and safety concerns, and those of you who live here knew what they were all along. You just needed support from the state government to get them done, because when I was in local government, it was really hard to get money out of state government for anything. So I said, let's turn it around. Let's turn it around. These are our constituents. They shouldn't have to beg. They shouldn't have to just, on a hope and a prayer, make the effort to get money. It should just be given to them to spend in the places that'll build back these communities. So we've reimagined a lot of these communities, and I think we're starting to see the effects of this right now. Right now, we've had over 134 projects funded, 64 in design phase, 29 in construction, 41 completed. But our local partners, and I want to thank everybody here who's been involved in the READY Commission, a number of you are, for your vision and making sure that we stay focused on this, that we don't get distracted, we don't go do something else. We will make sure we get the job done. And so last September, I was brand new, I think as governor, probably just a very short time, maybe a couple of weeks, we announced $2.4 million to repair the wastewater treatment facility here in the pump stations. Now, those of you who are not in local government, like, okay, that's not fun stuff to talk about. When you're in local government, that's all we obsessed about, because what happens underground affects your lives above ground. And I lived that, and we never had enough money to do what we need to do. So we wanted to make sure that what was underwater in the 2019 flood can be fixed, also eliminate the overflows from the St. Lawrence River and avoid the health effects of that. But we're also here today to announce some more projects. Let's keep it going, right? Let's keep people working. Let's do some more. Construction is now underway on 4 additional READY projects, and I'll describe them. Focusing on the downtown business district, focusing on improving boating infrastructure, and I have a confession, I'm a boater. I love being on the water. As an aside, I literally just got finished with my day around 9 o'clock the other night in Manhattan, and there's ferries that go out along the East River. A little bit different experience, but I was so I just needed to be rejuvenated from the experience of being on the water and watching the sunset over the buildings. And it's a powerful force. And it's something I do believe that after we've been so beaten down by the pandemic, this is a healing source for all of us, this beautiful water. So we want to bring people, we want to make sure that everything's protected. So we're focusing on our boating infrastructure as well. And also, again, making sure that we can withstand the effects of climate change. So together we're making $8.6 million of investments in all 5 projects combined. And I will tell you, this is smart money. This is absolutely smart money. This is how we start making real changes. So the Riverwalk, one of the crown jewels, we walked it, Mayor, I remember you walked me through that when it was fairly new. And we talked about, how beautiful it was. And people, the boaters that came from elsewhere had a chance to walk along there and really see the beautiful vision of this community. And it was so badly damaged back in 2019. And so we've invested $2.5 million, an elevated boardwalk, okay? That's what you do when you're smart. You don't build back the way it was and say, I hope the water doesn't go over it again this time. You make it elevated. That's what we're going to be doing now. And that'll mitigate future flooding events and also improve access. We're also refurbishing the docks at the Mary Street boat launch, another $2.5 million investment, helping the main dock, but also just keeping it going. Also the smaller boat dock where boaters can launch recreational vehicles or boats. They all both sustained damage. They were battered. The docks were unstable. It hurt the industry. It hurt the tourism, and also hurt the people that run all the boats and the rentals and the whole ecosystem around boating. So we're also going to be reconstructing the main dock at a higher elevation. We're going to do that. The village dock at Veterans Memorial Monument, another popular destination, is getting a facelift. Almost $1 million there, $975,000 investment. So we're going to protect from the extreme waves because the waves keep coming and coming. I know that when I'm out in my little boats. We're also, last but not least, investing $250,000 into the Thousand Islands Regional Dock right next to the park. And it's an important point of entry. We host yachts and tugboats and cruise ships, so it's really critical that we keep that open and accessible. So we're continuing to do this. And one more thing that most people don't really think about or care about until it doesn't work and it's not done right is dredging, right? You always got to be dredging. You have to stay ahead of this. So we're going to be giving an update on that. But we invested $15 million to remove built-up sediment from the bottom of 20 harbors and waterways. And I'm proud to announce that all 20 are done. So that's been completed as well. And we'll have the final phase as well. So I'm excited. So I'm delighted to be here. Like I said, find me any reason to come up here, and the answer is yes. I'll find a way to get up here. I was literally snuck in here over 4th of July, but none of you knew that, did you? And my husband convinced that I'm like a one-person economic development team because I walk in and spend my money in your towns. And so I literally stopped at a store on my way over here and picked up something that didn't fit in the car last time. So I'm trying to help the community, right? Somebody's got to do it, right? So I love this community. You all love this community. And we'll continue to protect this community from Mother Nature and continue to embrace the majesty, the beauty, the charm of this spectacular part of our state that I, as your governor, am so proud of. And with that, I'm also proud of the great work done by our commissioner, Basil Sagos, and I want to have him come up and say a few words as well.
Wow, that's amazing, very personal experiences from a statewide governor who knows this area so well. Let's give it up again to Governor Kathy Hochul. There's a couple of people here, Governor, who are your biggest fans. I just want to introduce them as well. My daughter is Lillian Page right there in the front row. Just briefly, you're an inspiration to them, but you're really an inspiration to all New Yorkers. I think you've risen to an incredible challenge. The state beset by so many crises at the same time, and yet giving hope to so many people, and particularly to our young girls who can see somebody take the mantle of leadership in this state, in this day and age, and do such a good job. I know you're blazing a trail for many future female governors. So let's give another round of applause to Governor Kathy Hochul. And just a bit more about the governor. The first time I ever met the governor was severe weather related. And there seems to be a thread here that kind of carries us together over the years. It was 7 feet of snow in Buffalo. Way back in 2015, she had literally just been elected, I think, a few days prior, hadn't even taken office yet, and walks into the Emergency Operations Center out in Buffalo, her hometown, as the state is trying to figure out what to do about all this snow, this crazy snow, and what it was doing to communities. She knows that connection. Then it was flooding up here, right? 2 consecutive rounds of persistent flooding, not a single event, but a summer's worth of damage and decay, right? Economic decay. All the work we put in to try to lift up communities during that crisis. Well, the governor was here before the press event, during the press event, after the press event, consistently, just asking people what they needed, consistently bringing results. And then her first few days as governor, 2 massive storms hitting New York State. Hurricane Fred, which lashed the southern tier, Steuben County and counties around there. And then, of course, Hurricane Ida, what that did to New York City, the loss of lives, the impact that would cause to communities is almost incalculable. So the governor's response, I think, is a perfect response to those disasters, is a perfect indication of the priorities that she's going to be putting in place as governor. And I just go back through the last year, we're approaching a year now, the year of her tenure, leading the nation's most ambitious climate agenda. And that's everything from lowering emissions, right, the most ambitious greenhouse gas targets of any state in the country, but also, we're leading, by the way, on renewables installations, whether it's wind and solar or battery storage, community solar, but also leading on resilience. And that's really important. That's what today is, but that's really what we need to do as a state. And the governor's articulated that vision in such a forceful way. And how is that done? That's done through budgets, right? The governor has brought the most ambitious environmental budgets of any governor anywhere in the U.S. And I want to say how much it means to us as officials who have to protect the state, but also how much it means to communities like Clayton, or like any of the communities that are beset by all these changes that we're seeing. $400 million in an environmental protection fund. It's an annual contribution. It was $130 when I started this job many years ago. Now $400 million, every single dollar, $7 in communities. So you think about the multiplier effect and what that means for land preservation, what it means for the work that the Department of State does on waterfronts, what that means for farmland preservation, what that means just here for beautification of historic assets like this one. $200 million for New York Works, a really important program you don't hear enough about that helps state agencies bolster state assets. So you see it with state parks, quite a bit of work through state parks, and also with DEC facilities all around New York State. And then a really incredibly bold commitment to our future, a generational commitment in the $4.2 billion Bond Act. Again, capital dollars that, if approved by the voters, we have never seen those capital dollars. And that's the governor putting resources toward a problem that is impacting every single New Yorker, regardless of political stripe or your particular professional interest. We are experiencing changes to our environment, and we need the resources to rebound and prepare for the future. That's the Bond Act. And that is today. The state created the READY initiative, Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative. Those are important words. Back in 2019, after the second round of intense flooding here. And that's really designed to rebuild communities from the damage, but also prepare them for the next round, as the governor so well articulated. Again, a $300 million program. And what I think is noteworthy, I won't retread the governor's words, but I think what is really noteworthy of it is this bottoms-up feel of government, right? It's not the government saying, we're going to do these 134 projects. It is, as we all sat through many of these meetings, looking at Scott, how many meetings we sat through to prioritize jointly what made sense for the communities. And all of that bottoms up, right, with the state resources from the top coming in, financial resources, state expertise, bottoms up knowledge, and making projects happen, getting stuff done. And that's really what the Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative was all about. And it is rolling. I mean, the governor detailed these projects that are now underway, that are completed, that are anticipated to begin soon, including these very exciting projects right here in Clayton. And I think, you know, you look back at the legacy of this mayor as well, of 14 years on the job here. I think I first came here about 14 years ago. There was no Harbor Hotel, right? There was no elevated Riverwalk. This here, right behind us, was relatively impacted by occasional storms. This combination of state support for local decision-making, local ideas, has been such a powerful partnership. And I understand, Mayor, that this is you're coming into your last year, and you can look back at really 14 years of fantastic work, and I hope your successor takes up the mantle in such an effective way. But thank you for your partnership. And I'll just end by echoing what the governor said. Well, sewage isn't sexy. Waterfront concrete and waterfront wetlands and shoreline restoration often isn't sexy, but it is so important. And you often don't know it's there until something bad happens. The way in which we've done these projects jointly, and I say we, it is all of us in this tent, the way in which we've done these projects has set up this area and the many projects, the $8 million of projects here and the $35 million of projects in Jefferson County alone, is going to set up this county for the future. It really will. It'll make all of you and all the businesses that are behind you in this beautiful boat museum sustainable for the future. So once again, I want to thank the governor for her incredible leadership, for pushing all of us, pushing the Secretary of State, the Commissioner of the Environment, pushing every single cabinet officer to lead, to be on the forefront, to take these ideas, right, the vision that she set out, operationalize them, and do it in such a way as to make communities better off. That's the hallmark of this amazing administration. So thank you. Let's give the governor another big round of applause. And now it's my honor to introduce your mayor, Mayor Zimmer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming on this beautiful day. It turned out pretty nice after that little storm we had, and thank you, Governor, for attending today, coming from Albany, and the DEC Commissioner. He just skated across the bridge. And bring your family so they get a little taste of what it's like to be in such an institution as this. And without you, we would not have what's out here, what's any place in Clayton right now. It's been a great, great partnership. And I want to reach out to Senator Ritchie. I don't believe she's here today, but she's been a longtime partner of ours. We're going to miss her, but somebody will step up the plate and have to carry us on their back, because that's what we do. And the Jefferson County Chairman Johnson, we really appreciate all your help in helping us have that bass tournament here, which was a great event. $45,000 worth of activity from you made it happen here. We set a new goal for the next angler to do. We had 2 anglers that came up with a 4-day event of 100-pound or more fish in their bag. It's never been done before, and it was done here in Clayton, and they hauled them all down from the lake. So here's your chance. Go out here in the river, and those big fish are out there waiting for you. So that was a really proud moment for Clayton that would not have happened without cooperation from Jefferson County. It's been a great 14-year journey. Got 1 to go. I don't know what we can tear up between now and then, but we'll find something. And the Clayton Chamber of Commerce does an excellent job to have festivals and events, not just in the summer. We're an all-year event here. Come October, come for pumpkin chunkin' and push your way through 10,000 people to see a pumpkin go in the river. You might like it. But without all of this help on our shoreline, this would not continue. The hotel was a game changer for us and had the vision of the state and the people locally that made it happen, and they're still a great, great partner for us. And we're excited with the Ready grant to help us get our feet back on the ground for the Riverwalk. And I hope you do get a chance to get down there today, because there's a lot of activity there to show you that we're making good use of your money. And we really needed to have that done. It was a combination of the Ready team and all your guides. Our Barton LaJudas team is here today. That was the engineer on this project, and they were helpful to make us do it and do it right. So the combination of the state and our community and all the people that helped us get to this point, it's how it works, hand in hand. I really want to emphasize how important it is to keep our relationship with the state. We need every one of you to stand us up and make us continue this great journey that we've been on. And I just can't emphasize enough how important it is to work as a team. That's where we've got where we are. Clayton is celebrating its 150th anniversary. I missed the first few years, but we're on our 150th, and this will be the cornerstone for the next 150 to have all these projects behind us. So that's an exciting way to conclude our projects, and your support, all of you, to make this happen is really appreciated. Thank you.